When artists draw the human form in any of its various shapes, contour, and postures, they are in fact figure drawing. The degree by which the human form is represented by the artist may range from highly detailed, anatomically correct renderings to loose and expressive sketches. Figure drawing has different functions in the total composition of an artwork. The figure drawing itself may be the main subject of the piece or simply a part of the total composition. Figure drawing can also be a figure studied on in preparation for a more finished work, such as a painting. Figure drawing can also be the basis for portraiture, illustration, sculpture, medical illustration, and other fields. Human figures are part of the prehistoric tradition of cave paintings. Drawings of man were found in the caves of France and Australia dating back to 17,000 BCE. These stick-like figures representing the human form were found in LASCAUX Cave, France. Other human forms first appeared in the Kimberley region of Western Australia. Animal figures were drawn in quite a lifelike fashion, but Paleolithic drawings of humans were rigidly non-naturalistic. Not until the late Mesolithic era do we see more natural-looking pictures of humans. The early civilizations of Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, Greece, Persia, and Rome featured drawings of humans sketched on less weatherproof media such as papyrus or wood panels. Few have survived. The only type of figurative art which survived antiquity were statuary and relief sculptures. However, ancient Greek sculptors inspired later generations of stonemasons, painters, and draftsmen. They pushed forward the idea that the human body is an ideal subject for a work of art. Artists of the Renaissance period revived the idea that the human body is an ideal subject for art. The use of nude models in the medieval artists' workshop was a common practice in the 13th century. In the 1580s, life drawings were made as a central discipline of various schools. The training began with the copying of engravings. Then students drew from plaster casts. Later, they were trained to draw from a live model. In the late 18th century, gesture drawings started to be of special interest. Models' poses tend to be active, standing figures seem about to steer, and even seated figures gesticulate dramatically. Model's body was secondary to the rendering of his or her gesture. Many drawings seem to present a representative figure rather than a specific body or face. By the 19th century, figure drawings were typically done in black chalk or charcoal on white paper. Meticulous attention to depict particularities and idiosyncrasies of the model's body is the order of the day. Reclining or seated, and even standing poses were rendered comparatively in a static mood. Women were generally not admitted to figure drawing classes before the late 19th century. At the time of the late 19th century, Philippine art more or less followed European trends. Figure drawing was very much appreciated in the works of Juan Luna and FELIX Resurrección Hidalgo. In the early 1900s, one particular painter, Fernando Amorsolo, took the Philippine art scene by storm with his romantic depiction of Philippine rural life, festivities, and beautiful Filipina maidens set in streams or rivers. His dominance in Philippine arts was challenged in the 1930s up to the beginning of the Second World War by the modernist triumvirate of Edades, Galo OCAMPO, and Carlos Botong Francisco. The 1960s saw the rise of brilliant young artists who would tackle social issues in their art. This new generation of modernists includes Ang Kyokok, Ben Cabrera, Danilo Dalena, and Onib Olmedo. They drew their materials from contemporary Philippine life and history. In the 70s, champions of proletarian art became known as social realists who count among the H.R. Ocampo, Legazpi, and Manansala. Through the years, since the 1800s, figure drawing in the Philippines followed the Western persuasion and inclination. However, approaches in drawing human figures were already indigenized.
So sa akin, mahalaga sa akin yung, or sa mga katulad ko na maging bihasa sa figure drawing kasi mas naiko-convey namin yung ilan sa mga ideas namin, lalo na figura ng tao ang isa sa mga main components ng aming imagery. So mula doon, maraming maiko-convey na idea or message sa mga pang-araw-araw na sitwasyon. Ako, I can start off with yung tinatawag na gesture drawing. So kapag na-establish mo yung gesture ng isang tao, pwedeng maging foundation na yun. And then the next principle should be breaking down the figure into its simplest shape and form. No? So meron ka ng kumbaga skeleton yung gesture drawing, and then convert mo yung shapes na yun into forms. From there, yung siguro pwedeng final stage is the detailing. Yun yung mga sinusunod ko. And then from that detailing, i-render mo na kung ano yung gusto mong So yun, yung mga stages na gesture or skeleton figure, shapes and forms, details, and shading. Practice. Constant practice. Siguro kasama na yung disiplina. Kailangan maging regular siya. Hindi dapat dumaan ng isang araw na hindi ka gumagawa ng kahit isang linya. Kasi yun yung foundation ng yung drawing skills. Dapat at least every day, no? Kung kailan sa isang araw yun, ikaw na bahala. Sa naalala ko na pinagdaanan ko, ang pinakamahirap para sa akin is yung kamay, lalo na yung iba-ibang pose na kaya niyang gawin. Doon na nagkakaroon ng complications sa presentation kasi kailangan aware ka kung saan nagbe-bend yung mga knuckles, saan siya naka-angle and yung point of view mo, ano yung nakikita mo sa camera. Konting perspective at saka foreshortening comes into play na, no? Hindi na ganoon ka simple. Lalo na mas maliit siya. So, yun. Yung paa is relatively similar pero mas madali siyang gawin kasi mas maiiksi ang toes, no? Yun na lang siguro yung mga distortions. Minsan nagagamit ko sa advantage yung ilang distortions kasi nagkakaroon ka ng certain style, no? Kung mapapansin nyo, tumingin kayo sa ilang mga artworks ng mga Filipino artists. Kabisado naman nilang ang human anatomy in terms of proportion. Pero naglilin sila towards certain exaggeration, no? So, minsan ginagamit ko rin. Siguro magandang simbolo ng isang message. In-apply mo na yung alam mo tungkol sa proportion and anatomy. Pero minsan ginagamit mo yung mga chances na nagkaroon ng distortion para mag-develop ng sarili mong style. Basically, yung pag-develop nyo ng time and discipline sa paggamit ng mga drawing materials nyo, yun yung gusto kong i-emphasize na para ma-develop nyo yung skill nyo sa pagdo-drawing, kailangan gawin nyo to on a regular basis at bibigyan nyo siya ng panahon talaga. No? Sa dami ng ginagawa ng mga aspiring artists, workload pa lang sa eskwelahan, parang marami na silang binoproblema. Isa sa mga solusyon namin din is mag-acquire kayo ng drawing book. Kapag bakante yung oras niyo, mag-doodle lang kayo yung mga mabibilisang drawing, no? Kapag nasanay ka na, gawin mo na yung gawin sa yung drawing book. Ang next stage niyan, pwede mo nang gawin sa mas malaking canvas or mas malaking papel. Sunod-sunod na yun, mapag-aaralan mo na yung shading. Siguro yung interest din made-develop. Kasi malaking bagay yung ma-maintain yung interest sa isang aspiring artist. Maintain lang yung lahat ng yun, then tuloy-tuloy na yung development mo sa pag-drawing ng figures.
Let's perform an exercise where we use blocks and a figure to create a block puppet. Here are the things that we will need: an A4 paper, a pencil, and a plastic ruler. The activity takes 30 minutes to complete and is broken down into 2 15-minute sketches. Begin the drawing with a light but confident sketch of the figure. Superimpose the second stage of the pencil drawing on top of the light sketch. For this exercise, use simple blocks based on the cube and rectangular form to represent the figure. Make sure that the blocks connect to each other. You are free to use different kinds of blocks to represent each part of the figure. Here are some examples of block puppets made by PHSA Visual Arts students in grade 9. Here, Albert Emir Reyes merged block puppetry with linear perspective in his work.
Painting and visual arts has gone a long way from prehistoric times until the present, and the human form plays an important role in its evolution by virtue of figure drawing.